Hello there YouTube, it's Jason, also known as the BlackBeanBoi, and today I am back with another video. So today is Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. I hope you're having a great day. The premise of today's vlog is today I'm going to be continuing my Gettysburg series, talking about day 2 of the Battle of Gettysburg. The Battle of Gettysburg happened 163 years ago, July 1st to July 3rd, 1863. There's fighting on all 3 days, July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd. Today I'm going to be talking about July 2nd, since today's July 2nd. Check this out. This is a book that I own. It's The Second Day at Gettysburg. There's some cool stuff in here. There's not a lot of pictures. There is a map of the battlefield, but it's mostly, they have some pictures of like the generals, but it's mostly just like a straightforward book about the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg. I have some other, Civil War books that have more pictures, especially of the aftermath of things, or like paintings of the battles, like artist renderings and paintings of the generals. But, this is a pretty cool book. I got this from Gettysburg. I got it from one of the antique stores. But yeah, let's continue talking about the Battle of Gettysburg. Also, I'm sorry this video is going to be going up late. It was a busy day for the Bean today. I'm already really, really tired, but yeah, I will be able to get some good sleep and recharge for tomorrow. I'm excited because day 3 of the Battle of Gettysburg is my favorite day to study. Day 2 is pretty cool as well, but day 3 is probably the day I've studied the most. But yeah, let's start. So day 2 of the Battle of Gettysburg. I'm just going to point out some of the landmarks that are very popular and talked about. So, the two big ones right off the bat that a lot of people talk about is in Gettysburg, there's like a little hill or like a mountain range with forest and trees. One is called Big Round Top and one is called Little Round Top. And on Little Round Top, the 20th Maine Division was led by Colonel Chamberlain, Joshua Chamberlain. And basically they were holding the Union flank. The Union was like positioned in Gettysburg. It was kind of like a fishhook. They were holding like the end of the fishhook. The Confederates were trying to basically destroy that part of their defenses so they could flank the Union Army. Hopefully I'm explaining that good. It's better to see like a map, or like an interactive map with like arrows, but basically the Union, the 20th Maine, was on Little Round Top. Picture this. It's like this giant hill. It's a forest, but it's like a hill, kind of mountainous forest. So, I've been there. It's just trees galore, and it's just is steep, and it keeps going up, and it's just trees. And basically the Union was on that hill. The Confederates were trying to scale that hill through the forest. And, that 20th Maine Division and a bunch of other divisions, but that's the most, popular one that people list on Little Round Top. There's a bunch of different states in both armies at Gettysburg at various areas. But a lot of the times, for historical reasons, they just pick out a few of the big brigades that, are a part of the story of Gettysburg, the actual battle. And the 20th Maine is a very popular one to talk about Little Round Top. But basically, the Confederates were trying to scale Little Round Top, and they just kept getting decimated. The Union was holding strong. They were holding the end of the line pretty good. It was getting dicey, though. It was not looking good at some points. The Confederates were getting close to them, and it really could have turned out bad if they didn't hold that position. But they ended up holding it. It was honestly almost like a miracle. And, they held that position and held that ground, and the Confederates were not able to flank the Union Army there. Very inspirational part of the Battle of Gettysburg. A lot of people, there was a lot of casualties up there, and on both sides, the Confederates were trying to take it, the Union was trying to defend it. But at the end of the day, the Union did defend that part. Also, I'm about to drop my phone. There we go. Let me hold on to my phone better. So that's one of the popular ones. And then right near that is a place called Devil's Den. It's like a bunch of natural rock formations. I'm trying to see. It's not on this book. It's like a bunch of natural rock formations just in the middle of like a field. These giant rocks. There was some fighting there. That's pretty popular. I would look up a picture of Devil's Den. You know, it's a very popular part of Gettysburg. People like to visit. Another huge part was probably the part that I like to go to there and also study was the wheat field, also known as the Bloody Wheat Field. Basically, it's just a wheat field in the middle of the battlefield, you know, in the middle of the Pennsylvania countryside. And they fought in that wheat field. The Confederates and the Union fought there. The Irish Brigade, the Fighting 69th, was there. There's a beautiful monument dedicated to the Fighting 69th and the Irish Brigade right on the edge of the wheat field. That's like my favorite monument at Gettysburg. And then one of the priests, I believe it was Father Corby, I think that was his name, he actually did like a blessing. He stood on a rock and did a blessing of the Union troops before they fought on the second day of the battle. And he blessed Catholic and Protestant troops. So the both of them, he was a Catholic priest. But it didn't matter if you were Catholic, Protestant, whatever, he blessed you no matter what. So I always think that's really cool. They have like a statue of him there as well. There's a famous painting of that. But yeah, the wheat field was really bloody. The Union took it, the Confederate took it, the Union took it. It just kept going back and forth, When the Union took the wheat field, the Confederates sent more troops and drove the Union out. Then the Union sent more troops and drove the Confederates out. And I forget exactly how many times the control changed in the wheat field, but it was very bloody. Also, right behind the wheat field, kind of near the Irish Brigade Monument, there's this area called the Loop, which the best I could explain it is at night it kind of looks eerie. You're going through this forest, and there's like the road kind of twists and turns, and it looks eerie. And there's some cool statues and monuments over there as well. And then also behind the wheat field is the peach orchard, this beautiful orchard full of peach trees where there was fighting. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I left out. There's a lot of information in these books. Those are just kind of like the things that I am fascinated with about the second day, of the Battle of Gettysburg. And I also believe, if my memory serves me correctly, there was fighting on Cemetery Hill. I'm trying to see if in this book, if it says anything. It's on the cover of this book. I guess, like, it's on the cover right there. That's Cemetery Hill. I guess, wow, I just exposed a weakness in my knowledge. I know that Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill, that's the area of the Battle of Gettysburg I feel like I need to study a little bit more in depth. I always visit those areas. Well, I visit Cemetery Hill a lot, but I visited Culp's Hill a few times. I know that there was like a part of the battle there on day 3 that was interesting, but yeah, I'd say that, Little Round Top, Big Round Top, Devil's Den, the wheat field, and the peach orchard, those are some of the big, well-known areas for day 2 of the Battle of Gettysburg. Like I said, I'm trying my best to explain when people talk about the battle. Usually for day 2, those are some of the areas that they talk about, especially Little Round Top and the 20th Maine and Colonel Chamberlain, and Devil's Den's a popular, one that people talk about as well too. But, the best thing I can tell you guys is if you find it interesting, research it yourself. There's so many free resources on the internet, and, YouTube videos you can watch. And I watched a whole documentary on the wheat field before, and it was really interesting, and I think it was on YouTube. But yeah, that's all I have to say for today. Other than that, I just wanted to say one thing is that I'm dedicating this video to all of the men who were at the Battle of Gettysburg, all of the men who fought there, all of the men who sadly passed away there. And, you know, the reason why I'm making these videos is because, you know, I'm a huge history nerd. I love the Civil War. I have a deep connection to Gettysburg, but it's also important. You might be thinking, oh, why are you talking about this like sad stuff, or, you know, it's history, but it's important to talk about it. It's important to remember it, and, you know, keep the memory of that alive, you know, because it was a very traumatic battle, and, you know, you never want to forget stuff like that. You want to always honor who came before you, and you always want to respect, and just, you don't want it to be forgotten, you know, because people, you know, paid the ultimate price there, and that's not cool to just like forget it. You know, you want to remember it. You want to teach people about it, you know, so those memories don't die. But yeah, other than that, today was Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. I am Jason, also known as the Black Bean Boy. I love you guys all. Bye-bye.